All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rekakwadash. Giving double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom to all the brothers out here laboring in this truth with sincerity. And shalom to the few sisters that watch. It's coming back with another lesson. Going into this post that I seen on Instagram. And as you can see, just the description of it, you have a so-called Native American man right here with his hand over his face crying. And you can see he's surrounded by what seems to be a whole bunch of Edomites, man. And just look at the look on their faces, man. You know, that cold, stone stare or whatever you call it. You know, they have no sympathy for this man that's crying. But we're going to get into this post and see exactly why he's crying. These devils are just that, man. We can't wait till Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai come back, and utterly waste this place, man. This man is the wicked of the earth. So let's go into this article. And it says, and this is a article by Moment in History 1. It says this hunting photograph from 1948 captures a moment of profound sorrow and injustice in Native American history, which would be the tribe of Gad. It says, at the center of George Gillette, that's the Gadite, says chairman, it says, at its center is George Gillette, chairman of Fort Berthold Indian Tribal Business Council, wiping away tears as U.S. Secretary of the Interior Julius Krug signs an agreement to take 155,000 acres of tribal land in North Dakota. So this devil is just taking these people's land, man, all with a swipe of a pen. And this man is at the mercy of these people, man. Let's take a look at these faces, man. Look at these faces, man. These are the faces of some sick people, man. Edomites. All of them look the same. All of them kind of looks the same, man. Look at them. Well, Salaki say screen recording when available, but just look at these faces, man. Look at these faces. So let's get back into this. It says the land was claimed by the federal government for the construction of the Garrison Dam, a massive project that would flood ancestral homelands and displace countless members of the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arakar nation tribes. It says, though portrayed as a progress by the government, it marked yet another forced sacrifice by indigenous people. We're going to keep on in this article. But let's get some scriptures, man. Because who else does this describe, man? Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 10. And man, the scriptures are always on point, man. It says, woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed. That's an unrighteous decree, man. Just taking these people's land to build a dam on it. Just confiscating somebody's land that's been there well before you even touched down, man. This is 1948. So this is way later, than since the tribe of Gad had been on this land. These people still doing this, man. And then they took all that land and subjugated, the tribe of Gad to reservations, man, small portions of land, and then fed them alcohol. Verse 2, it says to turn aside the needy from judgment, to take away the right from the poor of my people. The widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. These people, this describing these Edomites, man. Verse 3, it says, and what will ye do in the day of visitation, and in the desolation which shall come from far? To whom will ye flee for help, and where will ye leave your glory? So the Lord is coming back. The Lord is going to pay these people back, man. You know, this is exactly what we're waiting on. It says, without me, they shall bow down under the prisoners, and they shall fall under the slain. For all this, his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. So even though, you know, the Lord is going to punish these people, his anger is not going to be satisfied. You know, he's still going to want to punish these people. You know, hey, you know, you can't even imagine the fury that the Lord has for these people. You know, it says, for all this, his anger is not turned away. He's still not satisfied, man. He's going to continue to destroy these people, you know, continue to brutalize these people for 1,000 years, and then he's going to wipe them out. It says, but his hand is stretched out still, so he's still going to be, you know, breaking these people into pieces, man, you know, by way of the elect. So let's go back to this article. It says Gillette's visible grief was not just about the loss of land. It represented generations of betrayal and heartbreak. The Fort Berthold Reservation had already endured decades of encroachment, you know, and there's, you know, these people just coming over, bullying them, taking their land, you know, just coming, doing what Esau do, man. You know, being evil, wicked. It says decades of encroachment and cultural dismantling, you know, just taking a man's heritage. You know, we can get that too. Oppressing a man's heritage, cultural dismantling. It says with few options and intense pressure, the tribal council signed an agreement knowing full well of the consequences. You know, this devil was going to get violent. For their communities, the deal meant the loss of sacred ground, homes, burial sites, and centuries of deep connection to the Missouri River, which, it was progress dictated by power, not by choice. They know this devil was going to get violent, man. You know, basically. He was going to get violent and start killing off the women and children, elderly. The same way they doing in the Gaza Strip, you know, taking that land, you know, that's all they doing. Same thing, man. So let's go to the book of Micah, chapter 2. Woe to the oppressors. So it says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand, you know. Just like the article said, you know, the tribe of Gad, the Native Americans, knew the consequences. They knew the consequences, man. Verse 2, it says, and they covet fields and take them by violence. The devil was going to get violence. It says, in houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. So, you know, it said cultural dismantling. Hey, man, this describes this man to the T. It says, therefore, thus said the Lord Yahweh, behold, against the family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughty, for this time is evil. It says, therefore, thus said the Lord Yahweh, behold, against this family do I devise evil. So the Lord is going to pay him back with thermonuclear fire. It says, from which ye shall not remove your necks. So the Lord is going to constantly have pressure on your neck, man. Not literal, but he's going to utterly destroy you. It says, neither shall ye go hardy. So this devil is proud. And in that day, the pride is going to go out the window. It says, for this time is evil. So your day coming, Esau. Your day is coming. All right, continuing on, it says, for the years, Salakia, over the years, this photograph has become to symbolize more than a single moment. It speaks to the enduring legacy of broken treaties and the human cost of so-called development. George Gillette tear streaked face continue to echo through time as a call for remembrance and reckoning. It serves as a powerful reminder that behind every acre lost is a story of people, culture, and spirit. Stories that demand to be honored and heard. And man, that's right on point, because yesterday I was at work and these devils was discussing how many acres they had. And all I could think about was the tribe of Gad, man. So, man, may Yahweh Shem Yahushua bring vengeance upon these people, man. Evils, death, punishment, all that, man. Lord willing, Baruch Shah. So, let's go to the book of Habakkuk 2. We'll just drop down to 4. It says, behold, his soul. This is describing this Edomite. It says, behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him. But the just shall live by faith. Yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. Neither keepeth at home. Going all throughout the earth, taking land, destroying families, destroying heritages. It says, who enlarges his desires hell and as death, and cannot be satisfied. This devil can't be satisfied, man. Constantly going and going and going, increasing the evils upon the earth. But gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And, this plays a part, into this MOTB, man. That's the goal of this devil, man. To chip everybody, to have total control over every person on the earth. Let's see, verse 6. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. And that's what we gonna say, man. When the Lord comes back and start doing work, which he's already doing work. And we're taking up a parable against this devil because we see his kingdom falling. It says, how long? And to him that ladleth himself with thick clay. And you go into this word, thick clay. It means heavy debt. This devil is in debt. Citizens are in debt. Pledged, something pawned, heavy debts. It's debt. As a matter of fact, I already got it pulled up. What is the national debt today? It's $38 trillion. It says that's 570,000 for every single person in America, man. Man, the scripture's undefeated. So, Hey man, we watching this kingdom crumble. You still got these Edomites holding on. You can listen to them talk. Oh, Trump is gonna bring America back. He doing right with the tariffs or whatever, man. But it's over, man. This place is over. Matter of fact, let's go back to this picture and get another look at it. I think his name was George Gillette. George Gillette. George Gillette is gonna get retribution. He gonna be back, man. That's tribe of Gad. He gonna be back in the kingdom, stomping on these devils. So with that being said, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rekakwadash. Shalom.